Hello everybody, I'm Hoarder Gamer, and this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me this week. We've got some comic book reviews, we got some toys, we'll also be talking about video games a bit. We're going to start up with a review, and our first review is Wolverine number 44. Now, funny story. When I saw the picture of the cover and it said Sabretooth War last week, I thought it was part 1. This is actually part 4. So I'm a little bit lost, but most of it makes sense. The craziest part of it is, imagine Sabretooth dressed as Captain America, and Sabretooth dressed as Captain America murdering Wolverine's son. This is the aftermath of that, and they know that this is not the actual Sabretooth. It is some sort of clone or something like that. It's hard to explain. Plus, we find out has some bizarre, super powerful psionic abilities, which make no sense, and almost destroy Phoebe as she's trying to probe this version of Sabretooth's mind. So there's a scene where Wolverine is missing his hand. He's beaten, bloody, terrible, and he's like, go ahead, put it together. As long as it sticks, it doesn't matter if it looks good or not. Okay? Truly badass and crazy. And the mother of Wolverine's son is there to actually assist with this, and she does this super quick, like, sewing the hand back to the arm, but like in a very painful way. And she goes, I hope you can feel this. I hope you feel this inside, because it seems like Wolverine is so numb and wants revenge against Sabretooth that he didn't even really fully realize the death of his own son. So it's a very interesting scene. And you find out that somehow Sabretooth has been going from different dimensions and grabbing versions of himself to build an army after what happened to him on Krakoa, where he was basically shoved into a giant pit and forgotten about. The book also brings to mind the people that Sabretooth murdered, his victims, including Quentin Quire, which you'll remember from, I believe the book was New X-Men, the Grant Morrison X-Men book. He had the whole, like, t-shirt and slogan, Magneto was right. Okay? Well, somehow Phoebe gets a vision of Quentin, and the vision connects to Krakoa, or what's left of Krakoa. So now Wolverine is possibly heading into a massive trap, going back to the island of Krakoa, because somehow a message from Quentin Quire got to Phoebe. So yeah, this has been pretty wild. I definitely want to pick up issues 1, 2, and 3. If anything, this was really neat because it tells me I should be reading Benjamin Percy's Wolverine. It's very good. It's very good. And yeah, this is going to be Creed's ultimate revenge. And Wolverine is not a happy camper. And I think he will truly go through the pain and loss of his son. And that'll be pretty immense, probably, I'm guessing, a next issue or two. I think he's partially numb and doesn't even fully comprehend what happened. That's my feeling as I read this. Again, I unfortunately have not read issues 1, 2, and 3, because the way the page looked when I went online, I've got to be more careful. This has never happened to me before. I really thought it said part 1. And even last week on the episode, I was like, you know what? I definitely want to check out part 1 of the Sabretooth War. But part 4 was still very good. And like I said, Benjamin Percy's Wolverine is a book I should be reading. I liked the recent Ghost Rider he did, but it was super bizarre and it was hard to come to grips with it. And I think I just decided, oh, eventually I'll pick up a trade of it or something. But no, this is really good. This is really good Wolverine, and it's gonna get bloody. It's gonna get very violent. There might be viscera. There might be viscera. Who knows? Who knows? There's this great montage too. So the artist on this book is I hate when they don't have the name of the artist and writer right away. You have to go like 5-6 pages. Victor Laval is actually writing with Benjamin Percy. Corey Smith is the penciler. And there's these great moments where you see Wolverine inflicting insane physical damage to Sabretooth, as well as Sabretooth inflicting that damage in kind to Wolverine. And the scene where he cuts off Sabretooth's head and you see it flying. Like, craziness. Because they both have healing factors. You know, just like the crazy, insane things you can do with Deadpool, you can do with Wolverine if you don't know the character that well. And the same thing goes for Sabretooth. Okay. So, that is our first review. Wolverine number 44. And the way they're doing this is twice a month. They're continuing. It says the war continues twice monthly. Now, one of the only problems is, and I'm not thrilled on this, Marvel's charging $4.99 for their books. Now, they recently said they're going to be lowering their price to $3.99. I think that's a very good thing, but I cannot tell you why this book is $4.99. It's not longer. There's not a secondary story, with DC does a lot. Their books will be $1 more, and then you'll get a 10-page story or 12-page story that'll be its own thing, and sometimes they'll actually get the person behind the main book writing that story. And it'll be a really cool, like, sometimes a connection to the main story, sometimes not. But here, it's $4.99 for like a 20-page comic. So I guess just because it's Wolverine would be my guess. You know? So just something to keep in mind, okay? Not going to harp and preach on it, but it's a little disappointing that, you know, big, massive companies like that charge that much for a book without any extra value associated with it. But other companies like DC currently, don't worry, DC will probably upset me in a year or something and charge more for their book and take out that extra story. I was talking to a friend about that, a friend of mine, Junior, and that was his thought too, that like, yeah, and what they'll do is they'll remove that 10 to 12 page story and then charge you that same amount in like a year. And being that it's business, yeah, I could totally see that, you know? So usually when you have big corporations, one's the good guy for a while, and then the other one becomes the good guy, and it's a back and forth because there really is no good guy. That's just business. Okay, so now that we're done talking about business and comics, at least for now, you know, well, it's a comic book show. We're going to cover more, you know. Probably expected that, I'm guessing. We're going to talk about games, okay? And I'm very happy because I got a shield mod in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League that I needed. Tier 2 for Bane. Or shall I say, Tier 2 for Bane? And it's really cool because I needed it to like be like, oh, I got that piece. But it's kind of disappointing because it's not a master version of the shield mod. Unbreakable, I believe, is the name of it. And so now I have to basically hope that I get the master version, because that could be viable for Endgame. Otherwise, this one really isn't. So, but I'm happy I have it, because it's one of the items to get during the Finite Crisis, the, I guess, 0 season of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And one of the reasons I'm happy to get that is I was able to play the game. A patch came out real early on like Tuesday morning. I want to say at like 5 a.m. my time. And that patch got rid of the loading Metropolis screen. So what happened to some people in the open world, you would try to go somewhere and a loading metropolis little like octagon would show up and it wouldn't disappear and you'd have to restart. Okay? That happened to some people. What happened a lot more prevalently is after you were done with an incursion, it came up. Like that was a really good chance after an incursion it came up. Now think about that, right? You're doing like a 10-minute, maybe 15-minute mission, right? And you're with a team, you're having fun, good old time. And every time after that mission, you have to restart over, bring your friends back in, and do it again. And hope that you don't get that error again. So since that happened, since that new patch came out, I ran 3 incursions. I spent a few hours going through Metropolis, shooting down drones, and fighting Brainiac's men, and raising hell. All of that without the Metropolis loading. So that's good. That's good. There's a number of other bugs and issues they need to get under wraps and take care of. But I do agree that what they need to do now is like start talking about Joker. Start talking about the episodes that are coming to the game. Is it the hard-hitting episode? Yes, this is the 60 minutes of Hoarder's Comic Flex. This is the 1990s 2020 episode of Hoarder's Comic Flex, the expose. That's exactly what this is, Mike. But no, I'm very happy that I can play Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Even like when I'm off stream, I'll go through Metropolis, shoot down a few of the drones, take care of some riddles. We are getting more riddles, by the way, but I believe Season 1, I think as early as Season 1, Riddler is doing his thing again, which is great, because I'm still not done with that, and I love them to be there. I love him, like, making fun of me in the background. So right now, in one ear, I've got the devil whispering honey in the form of Brainiac, telling me all the things he can do for me if I join him in his army. And in the other ear, I have Riddler, who's not using honey. He's probably using something more like dill pickle juice and just calling me a moron with a lot of like 4 and 5 syllable words. So I got 2 ears full as I play the game. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. Let's see, what else? Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, I think, is a very cool game. And like I said before, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. It's definitely not a 9 out of 10. I had more issues with it. It kicked me out. Let's see, was it a 3.5 hour session of playing? It kicked me out to the main screen on PlayStation. Now, not the end of the world. But again, problematic when you look at the fact that if I choose a mission that only has one other person playing in it, I get an error repeatedly by trying to join that group. A mission with 2 people playing in it, error. So it's not saying kicked. It's not saying, you know, not available, group full. It's just giving me an error message and not letting me join. That's not great when you have quick play. When you have a button that you hit that lets you basically join a random mission for someone that put out a beacon, and it just doesn't let you. It's not great. It's not a great situation. But the game is a lot of fun to play. It really is, especially if you're on comms with people and you can actually come up with strategy. And the strategy can be rather loose and you can have a lot of fun if you're on like difficulties, I'd say 1 through 4, 1 through 5. Once you get to like 6 through 9, things seem a bit more serious. Right now I'm just trying to unlock a whole mess of cool weapons so I can fight terrifying automatons. I've been fighting many a bug, but pretty soon I'll be fighting many a bot. And I'd say in the final gaming news, what we have today, well, no, not, this isn't the final. This I want to talk about this too, actually. All these layoffs. For the gaming industry, it is just terrible and it's sad. And the first thing we need to look at is, you know, we need to have compassion. We need to have understanding for all these people that lose their jobs. We should not be crying about a specific game that we're not getting. Okay? That's fine if you want to do that. But the first thing is, let's think of the employees who don't know what they're going to do over the next few weeks to months as they try to get a new gig in what has become the video game industry. Don't celebrate that a game that wasn't quite the perfect way you wanted it to be is now canceled and you're thrilled because maybe it'll go a different route. Oh, but hundreds of employees got fired that were working on that version of game you quite didn't like. Maybe don't celebrate that, you know? And I'm someone that likes Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley actually invited me to the Game Awards in 2021. That was one of the greatest, you know, moments in my life. Don't worry, I'm not a father. I'm not married. I'm not married. So it's not like I said going to the Game Awards was better than the birth of my son or daughter or the marriage to a wife or husband. No, none of those things. So don't worry. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. But I do feel that he should use his place in the gaming industry, his voice, his power, I guess you could say, because of his reach. I'm not saying he's like a superhero or a mutant or anything, but he could amplify what the hell is going on in the gaming industry. He could amplify that question, because here's the biggest issue. In the past, it used to be your game didn't do well. It used to be you didn't build an audience big enough, and sadly, people were let go. Okay? What we're seeing now with unbridled, unchecked capitalism is that we have an unsustainable system where great success, great sales, great love of a game, okay? And like, it's just not rewarded anymore. The reward is possibly losing your job over it. And that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Part of it's because budgets on games have ballooned to insane amounts of money. One of the main reasons, graphics. Yes, I like a beautiful looking AAA game. Sure. Most people do. But also, I can look at something made by a couple people, like Vampire Survivors, which looks like an 8-bit NES game, maybe 16-bit Genesis, maybe. And that game was incredibly successful. Made quite a bit of money on like no budget. It's just crazy to me, you know? Too many gamers worried about their plastic box of choice over people's livelihood. Yes. 9 out of 10, only heaven is a better experience. Oh man, no, IGN's review was not quite that bad. They were not quite that absurd when it came to Helldivers 2. Only heaven is a better experience. Well, then you beg the question, how do you know that? You open up a massive can of worms with that review. That's like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Okay, and in, I guess, happier news, one of the biggest, most popular AAA franchises and series has a game coming out tonight, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, And the reviews have been absolutely insane across the board, making it sound like the first part remake was almost a joke comparatively, which is insane to begin with because that was so good. So that's going to be a really wildly popular game, and yeah, that comes out very soon. That comes out like I think 11 p.m. my time, so like in just over 2 hours. So there's something good. There's something good. Okay, everybody, we are done with video games for the week. Okay, and hopefully these video game companies are done with layoffs for the week. That would be nice. But I digress. Next up, we are going to toy around. Okay? We are going to toy around. And first up, we have 5 Autobots. 5 Autobots in a box set. I believe I want to say it's $119.99. That makes sense, roughly about $25 per Autobot. It's some of the most popular. Jazz, Sunstreaker, Hound, and I apologize, there's 2 I don't remember the names of. And earlier tonight I tried to remember and I couldn't. But these are some of the absolute main, besides Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, that you'll want if you're a fan of G1 Transformers. So this box set, I believe it's live right now. It's like $119.99 and you get all 5 of them. And I think they look really good. I think they look really good. The pictures of them in vehicle form are really good. You know, the big deal is that like there's more detail visually on the robot format, robot form, I would say. But, you know, it's mostly all plastic now. When these G1 Transformers first came out, some of them were like partially metal. And that's just not the case now. So, but I think these look really good. And as a Transformer fan, I definitely wanted to show this to everybody. So that is our first toy of the week. Next up we have Prowler. Prowler for the fan event USA and Canada at Walmart. Now, if you notice, there's another profile. Him with the hood / mask helmet, whatever you want to call that, and him with like the actual face. So you get 2 heads basically. And as they always say, 2 heads are better than 1. Especially when it comes to toys. Okay, but I think this looks really cool. It's going to be $24.99. But yes, it's Walmart exclusive. It says Pulse there. So my whole hope is that if you're part of Pulse, you'll be able to order it. I believe it's March 15th or something like that. This is out in the future. The very near future, but in the future. So like March 14th or March 15th, Prowler. It's a very good sculpt. It's a very nice looking action figure. Next up we have the other figure from Marvel Legends that they're going to have. Secret Empire. Captain America. So basically, Nazi Captain America. The scary, monstrous, nightmarish version of Captain America. Also going to be exclusive to Walmart. But again, it's got that little Pulse name down there. Which leads me to think that Pulse will have a limited supply, just like they did with those 1986 movie Transformers that were exclusive to Walmart as well. So there's Secret Empire Captain America. And believe it or not, everybody, we are done toying around for the week. There really weren't that many. A lot of the big hubbub about toys this week was just like pre-orders going live for things that already were available a week or 2 ago, and more pre-orders becoming available. Such as the very nice looking Batman from Batman v Superman. It's a very nice looking version of that Batman that McFarlane Toys did. And a week or two ago, it was available on like Amazon.com and most other sites. Well, that became available again. More of them became available to ship. And so, not all that much big news, you know, currently. Now, I believe that Autobot box set is available for pre-order, I think now, actually. I think that Autobot set was available now. Okay. So now that we're done with toys, we are going to look into the future, the very near future of comic books. All the way to 1 week from today. Okay, everybody. First up, I want you to, if you're seated, even if you're not like in a vehicle, well, you shouldn't be watching this if you're in a vehicle. You should have a seatbelt on, because this is going to rock you. There are so many books coming out next week that are exciting and crazy that I had to actually remove one that I was going to talk about today. Usually I have a challenge every week to come up with 3, maybe 4 really cool books, including, you know, 1 or 2 I'm going to review next week or the next week. And no, that wasn't a challenge this week at all. So let's start with a heavy hitter, and you can see what I'm talking about. Spectacular Spider-Man. Look at that name again, everybody. Spectacular Spider-Man. The first time there has been an ongoing monthly book featuring Peter Parker and Miles Morales together fighting crime, fighting Spidey villains. There we go, everybody. That right there is huge. Excellent chance I'll be reviewing that next week. Wow. Like, obviously, you know, like they've been, you know, in each other's books and everything like that. But it's an actual ongoing monthly Spectacular Spider-Man #1. And you might think, hey, I should just stop right now. I should just stop right now. What else is going to be anywhere near as interesting as that? I guess you're right. Maybe I should. Maybe I should stop right now. Maybe I should. No. No, I'm not. Ultimate X-Men #1, with art and written by Peach Momoko. This will be one of the most beautiful and surreal looking books monthly that you'll ever see. Not buying this book, I would say, is a Peach Momo no-no. I would say that. Very good chance I'll review this. I am so tempted to review 3 books next week, but things get just out of hand when I do that. Things go just little bit too nuts. A little too nuts. But yeah, Ultimate X-Men #1. It's a new X-Men team for a new time. It's not like anything you're expecting from an X-Men book, yet it's an X-Men book. So it should be very cool and very, very different. As you can see, they're showing the heroes on the cover. None that you know of. None that you know of. Like, it's going to be wild. It is going to be wild. Okay, so you're like, okay, it's pretty good. Probably nothing else that's really wild, right? Probably nothing else exciting. You would be so wrong, fool. Batman First Night #1. The 1939 Batman in a noir crime like mystery series for Black Label DC Comics. So those are the one that are square bound like books. Now I'll be honest, it's hard to store those, like unlike normal comic books. But it really does lend to like the art and everything like that to have the larger images and everything on the panels. Okay, So look at how gorgeous that cover is. The 1939 version of Batman with the crazy ears, the very old look, right? That's a great cover. What if there was an even better cover? What if there was one like this? That actually looks like the cover of a lurid, that's right, I use the word lurid, a lurid crime novel of the 30s. Look at that. Look at that. Those are two ridiculous, awesome covers for this book. I believe it's going to be, I think it's 4 volumes. Usually there are 3 volumes for Black Label, but I think this is 4. Batman First Night, #1, with 2 excellent covers. I truly love this one. I love both of them, but this one's just next level. Next level. Okay. Is that all? Is that all? Of course that's not all, everybody. Night People. Now, this one is super exciting to me because it's from the writer of Wild at Heart, the David Lynch movie, and the co-writer of Lost Highway, the other David Lynch movie, Barry Giffords. And it's a crazy noir, neon-soaked nightmare where dreams and reality intercross like most of his works. Doom, good to see you. How you doing? I appreciate it, Doom. Thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of both Barry... oh my God. I was going to say Barry Lynch. It's not Barry Lynch. I'm a huge fan of David Lynch, as most people know about me, and Barry Giffords, and the projects that David Lynch and Barry have worked on. So here is Barry doing, I believe, his first comic book, Night People, from Oni Press. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be crazy. And yeah, part of me wants to review this as well. So I'm almost going to have like a fight with myself to see what I'm going to review next week. It's going to be weird. Okay, so you're probably thinking that's it. Yeah, you're right. We are done with comic books. Oh, wait, we're not. We're not. Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum #2. And I believe the cover here is by Ariel Olivetti. An excellent take on King Shark. And what's great about this book, John Layman was one of the writers of a Suicide Squad series, so he knows the characters super well. Okay? It's also connected to the awesome Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. There's that. But also, the title is very literal, just like it is in the game. Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum. The idea is that all the inmates in Arkham are let loose to fight and kill one another, tooth and nail. Tooth, or, you know, King Shark for sure. To see who gets to join Task Force X. So basically, leading us to those 4 gurneys at the beginning of the game. So I'm just ready for madcap violence and mayhem as the 4 Suicide Squad members in the game go and wreck house and people in Arkham Asylum. Okay, now with that, we are actually done with comics for the week. We're done with comics. We're done looking into the near future of comic books. Obviously, we have one more comic book review, and that is Penguin #7 by Tom King. Okay. Awesome. The book is awesome. I see easily after reading issue 1 and then pulling away to be like, I'll wait for the trade, and now grabbing issue 7, which is the beginning of the next story arc. It went from a 6-issue limited series to a monthly book. That's how well it's been selling. That's how well it's written. So basically, it's the beginning of the relationship between Batman and Penguin. Like the criminal and the superhero going against one another. And in this chapter, it's the idea of who is using who. Basically, Batman is using Penguin for his connections to the underworld and to find out about certain crimes and things like that so he can stop them from happening. But this is a darker tinge version of Batman early in his career, and he's allowing some things to slide that Penguin is doing to get this access. And Penguin is testing the boundaries. There's a moment here very early on in the issue where it's pretty wild because you have narration from the character Penguin is talking to, and then on that same page, Penguin takes a pen and slashes the dude's throat. So he's still doing the narration, shocked that he's being killed, and trying to understand why Penguin did it. He did it so he could basically take a priceless handkerchief and use that to make it look like another criminal, one of the Bertinelli family, was involved with the murder of one of Penguin's friends, as he calls him. And Batman, in his narration, when he's talking to Oswald, is like, I know he did this. I know he's guilty. And he talked about like the evidence he's looking at and everything like that. It's wild. It is a wild, dark take on Batman, and it's Batman truly looking at, if I allow these smaller crimes to happen, but I can stop massive crimes, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And at what point does this symbiotic relationship end, you know? It will not be for everybody, because you are seeing a Batman here that is willing to let some blood be shed in order to stop more terrible crimes and more terrible criminals. And there's this cool wrestling with Penguin where he's trying to be a legitimate businessman, but he doesn't mind a murder here and there. It's very good. It's very good. I think it's a book I'll probably pick up monthly. It's got this awesome 1930s crime noir feel that's done expertly. And that shouldn't surprise us because of Gotham. I believe it was Gotham Year One, also by Tom King. That was just that. You know, it was this really cool noir take on Gotham City years ago before Bruce B even became Batman. But yeah, Penguin 7, very good. Everybody, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Thank you. Thank you. Doomkiller HD and Doom Squad Gaming, thank you for letting me borrow your channel again. Thank you. And for whatever reason, you know, if you're a glutton for punishment, if you're really bored, if you enjoy like having a root canal without any kind of anesthesia, you can watch me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Hoarder Gamer. Currently, I'm playing a lot of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Recently started Helldivers 2 and enjoying that for, you know, like the length of a good science fiction film, like hour and a half, 2 hours or so when I play it. I think it's pretty cool. Very soon I'll be starting Final Fantasy VII Remake. While everyone's playing Rebirth, I was like, you know what? I'll play Remake, because I never did that. I've got my finger on the pulse of 2020. That's when that game came out. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week with more Hoarder's Comic Flex. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.